Hey, this is Stephen Platinum, your friend in wrestling, for Ask Platinum number 7. A question loosely around the idea of when are we going to return to normal. I will read it here. It's from Michael. So, you are optimistic, outspoken, opinionated, loud, and truthful. Every quality I love about you, so I ask you, how long do you truly think it, or if, things will ever go back to normal, from grocery shopping to pro wrestling? I would like to hear your truthful answer, sir. By the way, happy 4th to you and your 2 amazing daughters. So yeah, I got this question 2 days ago. Here's the answer, and it will seem like a cop-out. The answer is, it depends on your definition of normal. If normal means we're running without restrictions in pro wrestling, I'm gonna take on the pro wrestling part of the question first. Pro wrestling, when are we gonna run, let's say specifically in the state of Georgia, with no restrictions on the crowds? Here's my general answer that actually covers everything. Sorry if it seems like I'm sort of like, well, Steve, like you're hopping back and forth on things. I guess it's this word normal that's striking me. Because even as this person says, by the way, happy 4th to you and your 2 amazing daughters, even that strikes me as a sort of unusual thing, right? What if I told you, for example, that one of my quote-unquote daughters identified as something else? That would probably strike you as incredibly different, right? Our definition of what is normal has altered in ways that we can't even really comprehend because we're too close to it. Here's my rough answer to everything. Election day is November 3rd. Once that election happens, things are going to change rapidly, no matter who wins, for president, for senators, for Congress people. I would imagine at that point, one of 2 things is going to happen. The pressure for one side to deal with these things as they see polls move up and down, that pressure will alleviate. And at that point, we're just going to open stuff up. If the other side wins, and again, it's up to you to plug in which group you're thinking I'm talking about. If the other group wins, then they're going to open up as a way of sort of this feeling of celebration and renewal. Now, you may say to yourself, Steve, that's crazy. I don't think it is, and it's not as conspiracy-minded as I'm making it sound. I think at that point, people will feel a great deal of comfort about things. I would suspect that in most places, schools are going to open and run in some facsimile of normal, but not entirely. But there's something about that election date that I feel like a lot of things are going to fall into place. So that is my rough answer. In Georgia, they're not feeling the backlash as much as, say, Florida has for reopening early. And again, if me answering it in this way is making you grit your teeth and you want to yell all this stuff about because there's more testing happening and blah, 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 blah. I'm on the ground here in Florida in more ways than one. Not only do I live here, the work that I've managed to cobble together takes me from place to place, and I see how people, just anecdotally, I will grant you, but I see how mask use has changed from depending on how conservative the county that I'm working in goes, and how the COVID count of the day goes. People are reactionary. And for me, the idea of getting back to normal means we don't react to things in the way that we're reacting to them now. And in that sense, we're never going to return to normal. Fundamental changes have happened in society that we have just grown to accept. whenever I watch an old movie with my kids, I'm always struck by if some scene takes place in an airport, I have to explain to them, oh, there was a time where you could go right up to the gate even if you weren't getting on that flight. And they look at me like I'm growing a third ear in the place of my mouth, right? Because for them, normal is super security, you get searched, you take off your shoes and your belt. Like for them, that's normal. For me, I remember when we went through a shift of drunk driving was the worst thing that you could do. But before that, it wasn't the case. So you would see adults who would probably go out hundreds and hundreds of times without being pulled over for drunk driving. By the way, that's still the case. Yeah. When's the last time that you've seen a drunk stop? Right? Normals shift all the time, and sometimes those shifts become semi-permanent ones, right? So, okay. So the rough answer is election day. I will say from a state to state thing, I think even when the rules are lifted, is it truly quote unquote normal if people don't feel compelled to rush back? I think a lot of these shows that are coming up are going to be good litmus tests. I think the Southern Fried show on August 1st is going to be a good test, but ultimately not a decider, right? Maybe lots of people are going to come back just because they've missed it. Maybe not. I mean, this is a tough time to be a wrestling promoter. So that's the answer to the question. My rough answer is election day, but the truth is it's social mores and how people handle things from state to state are really decided. I'll tell you when I'll know that Georgia wrestling is back to normal. I think when groups like Viral and AWE run without restriction and they're getting numbers that they got before. That'll be your true litmus test, because those are the groups that have tended to be the most conservative, strangely, when it comes to, they were the first to go like, we're not going to run and we're not going to run until things are lifted. And I think they're to be commended to that. I think AWE in particular gets lost in that discussion, but I want to bring it up here again. In any case, Michael, I hope that answered your question. Thank you again, and this has been Ask Platinum number 7.